So I had to say something about Kelly No Muscle, the Mack truck, and Big Boy. Their little tiff that they're having. You know how sometimes people have a platform and they do their content, and then people will come underneath there and tell them what they want them to talk about or what they shouldn't talk about. Okay, good. People are doing that under Matt Truck's videos. It's annoying. It's annoying. Just because you don't like what someone is posting and you would prefer them to post something else doesn't mean that you own them. Stop coming in people's comment sections and telling them what to post and what not to post, what to talk about, what not to talk about. It's like you're being worse than their boss. Almost like you're their owner, their master. If you enjoy a certain type of content that Mac Truck puts out, enjoy that. If you see it's a video about something that you ain't feeling, move around. You should know how to do that in life. I know I do. We have to do it all the time. We're not gonna agree with every. You think everybody agrees with everything that I put out in comparison to what I could be putting out? Life is life. You're gonna have ups and downs, and it just seems that we live on a planet where either the downs tend to gravitate to us more, or people tend to gravitate towards the downs more. Like the drama, the beef, situations like that. But as long as there's humans on this earth, we're going to have some type of, disagreements and conflict. So, now, for those of you in the comment section, and like Mac Truck like that, and I'm not saying I do, but clearly better than y'all, right? Okay, good. So let me help you out. The rich, I'm gonna call him a pinata because I don't never say his last name right. But the rich situation, the Mac Truck situation, and the 5%ers, blah 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 blah. Y'all do know Mac Truck is in that story, right? That's a part of his past, right? That's his history too, right? It's about him too, right? I'm just checking. Because some of y'all feel like he shouldn't talk about it. Now, some of y'all think that he's just now talking about it and he's looking for clout. And then you got some of y'all who feel like he's just now talking about it, and so this is your first time hearing about it. Now, I find you to be more on the more innocent side of things, and I'm just going to let you be because you just new right here. For everybody else, let me explain something to you. They've been talking about this for years. It gets brought up all the time. You know how guys sit around and, they talk about the old high school football days or something. It's kind of something like that. I got to start looking at the pattern because I can't sit here and tell you, oh, it peaks every summer or every winter or around Christmas or something. But every so often, maybe a couple of years, maybe even more frequent now, but it does get brought up and they address it, and it's pretty much the same thing over and over. However, what I've come to realize is that's probably something they're going to talk about for the rest of their lives, especially since we have social media. Okay, that's their real lives. That's their history. That's serious business. And then, Rich was super, popular, and so there was a lot that went on there. All right, so Mac ain't saying nothing new. He's telling his version of things, his side of things, and if you were around, you remember it all. Because I remember it all. And I even, recognize that he's listening to something that we all heard and we all listened to, that he at one point didn't want to listen to, but now he listened to it. I've seen over the years um, differences in Mac and how he handles things, and I don't necessarily agree with everything, and I've probably voiced that a time or two. But you kind of get invested a little bit, right? However, I've learned to just respect it regardless and not comment anymore, no matter how strongly I feel about it. Because there was a time when there was a situation, I didn't agree with him traveling back to befriend some people on here, but that's his choice. Okay, y'all? At the end of the day, you can't tell other people what to do. Okay? Now, the situation with Callie Muscle, oh, child, they always going to be beefing. Actually, it kind of makes a little bit more sense now that you've heard him say and talk about how it started with him and Rich, the initial beef, right? Although that's still not at all of it, right? Okay, just hang on. I'm pretty sure he's gonna tell it all again or tell it all the first time, right? And you'll get to hear it. With that being said, I like it when they get on Callie because Callie is a clown. He's a court gesture. He's a clown. A real life clown. When a lot of people are getting him at the same time, oh, I love it so. I love it so. And I actually like the fact that Matt gets into him every once in a while. Even though he's gotten more professional with his platform and everything, he's branding himself a little bit more um, formally because he's always been a brand. But he still will, you know, call people out and say what he got to say. I like that and I hope that because I was concerned about that. I was concerned about that. I was like, oh, he's really not going to call anybody out anymore. But here we are. Here we are. My favorite when he calls out Cali Muscle. I love it. And it's well deserved. Now, I'm sorry, Cali No Muscle, right? Right. Yeah. Now, Cali No Muscle and Big Girl over there, I think they're going to always be together. Something in me just feels like they're going to always be together. I think they were actually made for each other. More so than Callie, No Muscle, and Hyphy Whitey over there. Isn't he gone? I don't know. I don't look over there. And I didn't see this, what Mac Trucc is more recently talking about. These two are dorks. They're clowns. They always do dumb stuff. And in my opinion, part of why they do it is so that people will talk about it because they know somebody's going to say something. And here's Mac. And I'm like, you're kind of giving them the attention they want. And you know somebody who's watching your video is going to go over there and look, see. You only played a few seconds. They're going to go over there if they never even heard of them and look, see. And that's what they want. They want the attention from it. You know, like class clowns for attention. That's really a lot of it. And I did say initially, that is all that's it. But as I'm listening to Matt, I'm thinking, again, instead of saying, I wish he wouldn't play into that because they really are getting the reaction from him that they want so it can benefit them in the long run. I'm listening and I'm thinking, there might be something more to also why they're doing it, and he knows that. But I still think it's good that even though I'm pretty sure he knows they're doing it for clicks and views also, that he's still willing to call them out. That's a good thing. And for those who think that he shouldn't do that on his platform, he should only provide you the content that you want, shut your mouth. What you're doing actually is the equivalent of what he's telling you guys that is happening. You know, when Big Boy put Callie in the back and says, go to the back, you know, like Rosa Parks, hush that foots. Everybody move to the back of the bus. And then Callie's like, oh, yeah, you know, he's just loving it because he knows it's going to trigger somebody. And then, you know, he's calling him a chauffeur, and he's like, yes, chauffeur. You know, whatever happened. They're corny as all get out. And it's stupid. It's blatant, though. It's obvious that they're doing it for attention because they know it's going to trigger people. Callie is so pathetic and desperate and talentless that, you know, he's about shocking people. Shocking you, scamming you, and giving you a wow. Now, the only thing that I can really say good about Callie and give him credit for is that he, being a large platform, larger than mine, actually said something that I said myself, and it got acknowledged. Now, there's a guy called Yaki Awaken, and Callie Muscle, you know, going through his watermelon challenge and all that other stuff. He actually started ordering some bitters or whatnot from Yaki, and he let the public know. I think these guys may have had hopes for, or potential for, or talked about, negotiated some kind of, you know, support deal or something like that, and it fell through the cracks. Now, what Callie did, you remember when he was telling you, hey, guys, don't feed your kids this, although my freezer's full of it and I'm feeding it to my kids. And even admitted he feeding it to his kids, but just because you change, it's kind of hard to, you know, drag your family along overnight and be like, it's kind of like taking drugs from a, yeah, it is. We're not supposed to say that word on here, but we're all adults, I think. You know? Excuse me. So, Callie says, and I'm not saying him, you know, word for word. I'm just kind of like paraphrasing. But he says that, you know, it's kind of hard for him to really go in on Yaki and his advice and maybe even his products because he can look at Yaki and he can tell that, you know, he is in bad health himself. Now, I said this is the one thing that bothered me because I saw it increasing. And I'm like, he has great information. I mean, I'm not an expert in what he's saying. He clearly is, I guess. And it does seem like really, really good information. But at the end of the day, if it's so great, why is he looking like that? Because you can look at him, and you can hear his story about where he came from, obese, smoking, drinking, about to die, blah, blah, blah. I think he said he had a couple of heart attacks, maybe even a stroke or two, and he was very, very young. And he changed from that. So coming from that, he looks great. But you can tell when a person is not healthy, when they're inflamed and all this stuff, when they're obese and even overweight, and you can tell in their face, you can tell in their skin, you can just tell. And to me, he never looked healthy coming on here with all this hardcore, powerful, bigger than Dr. Sebi type information. So, Callie actually had a good point there, although I think some of that was Callie being a hater because Callie would never want, especially a black man, to overshadow him. No, even though they have different content. I mean, he could have just not brought Yaki up on his platform at all, but the fact that he brought him up, acknowledged that he got the bidders, did a little I guess, infomercial for it. And then, went on to talk about how he can't really deal with Yaki like that. He intentionally hated on him, but he was telling the truth. And I was like, wow, this is something that I said on my own platform a while ago. That I think my message was quite different, though. It's like to me, nobody who's obese or anything like that can really like lead or, a lot of things that they be trying to do. It's like a dude, I can't take you seriously. I might understand that what some of the things you're saying is pretty legit or whatever, has some merit to it, but at the end of the day, I can't really take you in the manner that you want me to, especially when it's your department is of health. You're just showing that you have no discipline, you have a lot of work to do yourself, or either could it be that what you're presenting is really BS? And so that's why it's not even benefiting you. Now with Yaki, you know, now that he is gotten down to like 145 and he's been working on himself for 9 months, he comes forth and he does a confession. Yaki is a very short guy, much shorter than myself. He's very short. And so, if he's overweight, it's kind of easy to see that. He's all thinned up now. And so now he makes this confession about how he was struggling big time behind the scenes. And although he was breaking down to us, exactly what our body needs. And pretty much everything else is exactly what our body does not need. He was still going in himself. And he didn't have that discipline that he once had that started him on his journey. And he went into how he, now, but he was making confessions about how he was going around flying out getting food because he saw it and, oh, this looks good. Come on, let's hop on a plane and go get it. So I'm happy that Yaki, made his way through that, and let's pray he maintain, because that's really good, and it's good that he could come forth and acknowledge it. I would have respected it more if he would have tried to not pretend and to be forthright and honest with the people along the way. To me, that would have went a lot further, because at the end of the day, people are praising this guy just like they praise Sebi, just like they praise a lot of people, and a lot of you guys seem to, for some reason, praise Kelly Muscle. It's never about the person. It is about what you learn or don't need to learn from that person. Everybody's just a vessel at the end of the day, and they are not the creator. They are not God. And to praise them and look up to them as such, that's a bad deal. And, you could really get hurt from that. You can't keep on following around with Cali Muscle. I'm sorry, Cali No Muscle. Let us not forget Cali No Muscle. And Big Girl. And let me say this about Big Girl. Somebody suggested Macc and Big Girl get into a boxing match. First of all, Big Girl wouldn't do it. Secondly, I just said, what? That's not even really possible now, is it? I mean, come on. Did we not just watch Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? So you trying to recreate something like that? I mean, yeah. Try something else. Just try something else. But I don't know what's gonna happen with that. There's some deeply rooted issues there, and it's ongoing. It has a long history to it. And the depth of it really is none of our business. That's up to those men. Let them. We can comment and joke and laugh at whatever, is said about the other, but to try and get in the middle of people's stuff and try to tell them they can't talk about it and all that kind of stuff, man, you don't get to control nobody's walk in life. You don't get to control their path. And although that crap that, Callie's doing over there is just, he is a pretty clown, he needs to be called out. And I, for one, honestly, am glad to see another man being willing to call him out, no matter how silly and pathetic some of the stuff that he does, like that skit. I mean, it's terrible. You know, Mac breaks it down, in more words about why it's just not good. But this is the character of people you're dealing with, and that old girl. I never liked him. Never. Since day one. I saw him years ago, and that's back when they were, you know, they were, people were more together. I'll say that. You, it just reeks from him. His face, his energy, everything. You know all you need to know about him if you are blessed with that gift. Never liked him, and he gave the perception over time that he was evolving and changing into another person, and that's just not true. That's just not true. The whole thing about him selling and blah blah blah, guys, none of that is new news. Not completely. Not completely. Again, if you're blessed with the gift, you can read between the lines and you know enough of the story, right? And the whole thing about Rich and the wife and big girl and blah blah blah. Again, a lot of us know all of that too. Okay, a lot of us. So if you're even questioning, thinking, or wondering if that's a decent dude, it's not, and neither is Callie. Okay, he's nothing but a fraud and a scammer, and that is why him and big girl gets along so well. So there you have it. Right? Let that shit rock out.